What would you do if you were awakened early in the morning by two law enforcement agents standing at your door with guns? They search your home and abruptly leave with little explanation. This happens regularly in many countries all over the world, and now it happens in America. The USA Patriot Act, a law created to protect us against terrorism, makes this action perfectly legal. But is it always justified? We wanted to find out. America is known as the land of opportunities. Immigrants from all over the world have come to our shores and contribute to the colorful fabric that we've all come to enjoy. As it happened in the past, and is happening now, people come to America with a dream. We spoke with Humayun and Nahid, an immigrant couple from Pakistan. Humayun has been living in the United States for 16 years. Early on a November morning, he was awakened by the doorbell. Answering the door, he saw the building manager with a man and a woman. They quickly moved past him and into his apartment. Here's what happened.
Then they come inside and they told me, sit down on the sofa, and they show me no ID, no nothing, where they come from, why they came here. They just want to check me.
In October 2001, the USA Patriot Act was passed. This is in direct response to the 9/11 attacks. This law gives law enforcement greater ability to wiretap phones, monitor emails, survey medical, financial, and student records. Also, break into homes and offices without prior notification. This law was passed to protect American citizens against terrorism.
I came here in America for make my life better, to work hard, but now it's different, you know. I'm scared, you know.
Next, I spoke to Udi Offer, an attorney and the director of the Bill of Rights Defense Campaign at the American Civil Liberties Union. He talked about the pros and the cons of the USA Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act has provisions in it which fundamentally changed our constitutional rights, but in addition to that, there have been a series of executive-level actions since then that have also had a dramatic effect, and I think, on our constitutional rights. And I think the Patriot Act has become a symbol of what is happening in this country. In terms of good provisions within the Patriot Act, I mean, it has provisions in there that, for instance, give special immigrant status to certain immigrants and their families that were affected by 9/11. So, of course, we support that. At the New York Civil Liberties Union, we definitely recognize the fact that there's a need for to prevent another 9/11 from happening. Our office is only a couple of blocks from the World Trade Center. All of us here were affected by it, some of us more intimately than others. There is no need that we need to be vigilant and that we need to be aggressive, but there's a way to be both safe and free.
In the case of Humayun and his family, they are still afraid. Did you tell anyone? Did you report this?
No, I'm scared, you know. If I call anywhere, because I hear the news, they go every home and they check everyone, and we're scared. Where we going to call? Who's going to hear us, you know?
But there are people out there who will. Take, for example, Lynn Stewart, an unconventional 60s-style activist lawyer whose commitment to defend due process spans her 30 years as a defense attorney.
Your job is to vigorously defend. Vigorously is part of the ethic. And it's also, you have only one duty, and that is to rescue your client from the clutches of the state, whether it's by acquittal or by appeal or whatever. That is your bound duty.
But even Stewart has been subject to the authority of the USA Patriot Act. She's been charged with 2 counts with aiding a terrorist organization. One count said she lied to the government, and the other count said she distracted 2 guards while her translator and the sheikh exchanged terrorist information.
Yeah, those are the charges that are against me, of course. We can be glib about it and say how many wonderful issues, but they do carry a penalty, and the penalty is 40 years in prison.
Then we spoke to Jack Sachs, an immigration lawyer for 33 years, a seasoned practitioner who's defended all types of clients. How do you feel about the Patriot Act? And do you feel that it's affecting your ability to do your job?
No question. No question. And they don't bother, the arrogance of the Justice Department and its head is such that they don't even bother to disguise their interference with the privilege. Now, even with the case of Lynn Stewart, they're sending a message to all the attorneys. The message is very clear. We can be a target as well.
In the case of Humayun and his family, they are still afraid.
Were you scared?
Yes, I am very scared because I am sleeping and I am 8 months pregnant. And she come my home and she say, come on, come on.
On June 5, 2003, Attorney General John Ashcroft, a staunch supporter of this law, sought to go further with Patriot Act 2. He says our ability to prevent another catastrophic attack on American soil would be more difficult, if not impossible, without the Patriot Act. An official who doesn't agree is Hiram Mazerat, a city councilman from District 21 in Queens.
We need to not, in the name of safety, erode the basic liberties that we cherish here as Americans. And we are here today challenging some of those injustices. We're also talking specifically to the fact that the civil rights struggle didn't end in the 60s. If anything, today we are in the midst of the greatest challenge to civil rights in the history of America.
Councilman Mazerat believes the name Patriot Act suggests if you don't believe in it, you're not patriotic. And that this bill was passed at a time when this nation was in great despair, confusion, and fear.
I think we live in dangerous times. They're interesting times, but they're very dangerous. And unless we really start waking up very soon, we will lose a tremendous amount of the rights that have been fought for by our forebears for years and years. I'm not just talking about Washington and Jefferson and all those guys. I'm talking about the ordinary, everyday, working class guy, the lawyer in the trenches, the Gideon decisions, all of this kind of level of pushing the rights to make people more safe and more secure as opposed to an encroaching government.
Back in April, the U.S. Department of Justice published an incisive report stating that the FBI officials made little attempt to distinguish between foreigners who had possible ties to terrorism and other individuals who may or may not have had any contact with members of terrorist organizations. However, Humayun and Nahid are still planning to leave the country, and on June 13th, Lynn Stewart started legal proceedings that may last a very long time.
I'm happy to be in this position, but of course on a purely personal level, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, oh my God, are they really doing this to me? And of course the answer is yeah, they are.
Before we are thinking this is our country, the beautiful and everything, everything freedom, But after this happened, we feel, we have to go back, We feel not freedom here.